variable on both sides. Do you recall what was kind of the first thing, or one of our first rules that we talked about? Okay. Or how we go about this? There's two things that you really got to watch. We said never clear out a side, and we said move the little guy. Sometimes those are kind of in contrast to each other. Because right now the little guy is this Y. And if we move it, though, what would happen? What would be over here? Nothing. We don't want to do that. Okay, we don't want to do that. So if that clears out a side, we don't do it. We have to move the other one. So I need to move the 4Y. We got to get everything with a Y on one side. Everything without a Y on the other. Okay? And so in this case here, I'm going to subtract 4Y. I'm going to subtract 4Y. And that gives me Y minus 4Y, which is negative 3Y, is less than or equal to 18. Divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. And that gives me Y. What happens when I divide by a negative?
It flips the value sign.
Flips the inequality. So you're going to flip the inequality. So instead of less than or equal to, it's going to become greater than or equal to. 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. All right, so we got that. Now we need to graph it. So Y is greater than or equal to negative 6. I'm going to start somewhere here with negative 6. Negative 5, negative 4 goes up. Negative 7, negative 8. And then I got greater than or equal to the right. So all those numbers will work. Okay. All right, now, I'm going to show you something. Don't even write this down, but I feel like some of you are okay to do this, and I at least need to show it to you. Don't write it down, though. The reason we say don't clear out a side is because you can do it that way, but most people do it wrong. I want to at least show this to you. If you move the Y, if you subtract Y, it actually adds more steps because, all right, if I do that, sorry about that. I didn't have that one going. Oh. All right, what does that give me on the line below? What would I write? Okay, I want to make sure we see this. What do you think I write from there? Zach?
Would be zeros? No. I don't know.
Maddie? Give her a shot.
I was going to go with what he said. 0 is less than or equal to 18. Because wouldn't it be?
What's 4Y minus Y?
It would be 4 plus 18.
Well, it'd be 3Y because there's a 1 there.
Right.
Plus 18. All right, you can do that, but everybody forgets to put the 0. Nobody puts a 0. They just slide that over there. Okay, it can work, but you add an extra step because what do I still need to do? I still need to subtract 18. I get negative 18 is less than or equal to 3Y. If I divide by 3, I get negative 6 is less than or equal to Y. And then I rewrite my answer. And they match up. If I do it right, they'll match up. I'm still always going to say don't clear out a side. Because I know from doing this for a long time that most people make a mistake. I just want to show you that it can work if you do it correctly. I wouldn't mark off, but it's not the first thing you want to do. Okay, so just be careful with that. I would still go with the rules. Never clear out a side. Okay, because it just leads to a mistake. All right, now we got a bunch of stuff going on. Key things we're going to keep talking about simplifying before you move everything to the left and right. So you get 2 times k minus 3 is greater than 6 plus 3k minus 3. All right, distribute the 2 first. 2k minus 3. No, it would be 2k minus 6. All right, on that right-hand side, combine any like terms, and there are. Okay, Jeff.
We have a plus sign where the minus sign is over there.
You do?
Yeah. We do.
So you got k plus 3?
Yeah.
All right, you guys go ahead and keep it, and I'll just make mine a plus. All right, thank you, Jeff. Hopefully it'll all work out nice. All right, what can I combine on the other side? The 3K, there's nothing else with the K. I'm going to put that first. I got 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3 just gives me a positive 3. So I get 3K plus 3. Taryn, what do you think we can do from here?
Subtract 2K from 3K.
That's the little guy. Subtract 2K. Good. Subtract 2K. Subtract 2K. And then I get 6 is greater than K plus 3. And I'm going to subtract 3. And I get 3 is greater than K. We are not allowed to write that as an answer. Remember, it must be pointing the same way, so you got K is less than 3. All right, go ahead and graph that. I just want to do a quick check, make sure you're graphing that right. Okay. What type of circle you use, which way it's going.
Yes, it'll always be if the variables are.
If the variables.
Yes.
Okay, you can't do it. But when you number line, number line always increases, like you always go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This has got to get bigger.
Hey guys, Jeff just asked a question, and I think we've said it, it's a great question, and that's why we want you to write it like this. If we have the variable on the left side, okay, that'll tell you which way our solutions are going to be on the number line. Does that make sense? This is K is less than 3. Okay, so what do we got? 3, 4, 2. What kind of circle, guys? K is less than 3. Open. Okay, since my variable is on the left, that's the way I'm going on the number line. Okay? Does that make sense? I know you guys have heard this. I just want to say it again.
Yeah, I had some of the number lines marked incorrectly too. So just be careful on the number line. Remember, it always has to go up. You just go 3, 4, 5. Okay, up for that one. All right, that third one. Got to distribute. Got to distribute both of those. Now, 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times negative r is minus 5r. Is greater than or equal to 3r minus 6. Okay, make sure you just watch those signs. 10 minus 5r is greater than or equal to 3r minus 6. All right, Ava, what do you think here? Next step.
Subtract 3R from 3R and 5R.
Okay, I would move the little guy though. Is negative 5 smaller than 3? Okay.
Add 5 to.
Okay. You can still get the right answer that way, but then you're dealing with more negatives, which I don't like to deal with. So we're always going to move that little guy. So I got 10 is greater than or equal to 8r minus 6. All right, once we get to that point. Okay, Addie, what do you think?
I take the negative 6 and turn it into a positive and add it to 10.
Good. We're going to add positive 6 to both sides. I get 16 is greater than or equal to 8r. Divide by 8. Divide by 8. That's 2 is greater than or equal to r. Rewrite it with r is less than or equal to 2. So now, and if it helps you, I know I got 2 as one of my numbers. I'm just going to think, all right, smaller. So I'm going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you get bigger as it goes to the right, and then you open circle at 2 shaded to the left. Those numbers will all work. All right, read through this. Read through this. See if we can come up with an inequality. See if you can come up with an inequality. To rent a certain vehicle, rent a ride charges $55 per day with unlimited miles. Try as much as you want. Cost of renting a similar vehicle at We Got Wheels is $38 per day plus 20 cents per mile. For what number of miles is the cost at Rent a Ride less than the cost at We Got Wheels? Okay. All right, which one do we want it to cost less? Are we looking at the cost less? Make sure we figure that part out. All right, Ava? Rent a ride. So we want when that is less. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say RAR for rent a ride. RAR is less than We Got Wheels. I don't know how to say that. We'll go up. We'll go up. RAR is less than we'll go up. Now, how do we figure out the cost for rent a ride? It's just, and this is only for one day. We just want to figure out per day. Per day. So how would I list that? Okay, for that one. Diana, any ideas? Well, what's it? Okay, all right, that's fine. Yep.
38 plus 0.2x.
Is that rent a ride?
Yeah. Oh, no, never mind. That's the other one.
Rent a ride is how much? Just $55 a day, right? It says we're only going to deal with one day. It's going to automatically cost me how much for that one day? 55. So rent a ride is $55. We want that to be less than We Got Wheels. Now, Lucas, what's We Got Wheels? What's that going to cost?
38 plus 0.2x.
All right, 38. Good. Plus 0.2x. I get charged for every mile. All right, all right. Off the top of your head, if you were going to drive it a ton, you were going to put a lot of miles on it, which one do you think you would pick? Okay.
The first one.
The first one, because you can drive as many miles as you want. If you're only going to drive a few miles or a limited number of miles, then you would have to take a look and say, will this cost less in the end? All right, how do you solve this? I don't have an X over here, and that's okay. Okay, Griffin?
Subtract 38 on both sides.
Subtract 38. Good. 55 minus 38 is 17. That is less than 0.2x. Well, we got some decimals, so you definitely need your calculator. Divide by 0.2. 17 divided by 0.2, Griffin?
It's 85, and I flipped it so I got x is greater than 85.
All right, so I'm going to ask you, don't say anything yet. I'm going to ask you everybody. If a lot of people get this, but then when I ask what's the answer, they give me some crazy wordings that really don't make sense. All right, read the question. For how many miles will it be less at Rent a Ride? How would you give me a statement? I need a statement. Okay, to give me that final answer. What do you think for that one? Final statement or final answer. Okay, you can't just leave that. You got to give me something because it doesn't. You haven't shown me you fully understand the problem on that one, Matt.
At 85 miles, it will be less at Rent
At 85 miles, you're slightly wrong because what would happen at 85 miles?
It would be the same.
It'd be the same. So it's not at 85 miles. It's what?
Less than 85 miles.
Does that say less than 85 miles?
No,
No, it says what?
greater than 85 miles.
Greater than 85 miles. So rent a ride costs less for more than 85 miles. So it actually has to be 86 or more. Some people will say 86 or more, that's fine. But more than 85 miles. Because sometimes you just kind of get in that habit. I don't know if you read the whole problem, but just kind of how you got to word that answer. So rent a ride costs less for more than 85 miles. Okay. All right, we do got guided notes for today. Let's leave those out. Don't put those away. Don't put those away. You're quick enough. And I need these two guys in the back here. You're welcome. All right, let's take a look here. We're going to
I'm gonna start keeping stuff kids are absent.
yeah, I'll get something. I don't have anything right now. Well, I might have something in the back. We're going to skip those first two because we just did examples like them. So I mean, if you started, you're not going to kill yourself. All right, go down to that one on the bottom, number or A, example 2A. All right, just take a look at that. Yeah, there should be. Yeah, you can get in there. Because those first two examples are similar to what we already did. Now we're going to run into something here. 2x minus 7 is less than or equal to 5 plus 2x. All right, first step. Ryan, what do you think?
Subtract 2x.
Subtract 2x. Now, when I subtract 2x, Ryan, can you tell me what to write starting on the left?
-7 is less than or equal to 5.
Okay, what happened to the 2x's? What's 2x minus 2x equal?
0.
0. It's gone. It equals not 0x, not 1x. It's totally gone. Okay? So it adds up to 0. So we are left with exactly what he said. I no longer have an x. This is a special case. Okay? You will not get a answer of, x is less than 2 or x is greater than 2. Is -7 less than or equal to 5? Yes, it's smaller than 5. Okay, I'm trying to see something. So what does that mean? If you look up above, this is up above you, there's two cases. There's something called an identity. There's something called a contradiction. These are cases where your x's drop out. If you get a true statement, it is called an identity. What does it tell me over here are the solutions for an identity? All real numbers. If you end up with a contradiction, you end up with something that is not true, it has no solutions. So is this an identity or a contradiction? It's identity because this is a true statement. I know -7 is less than 5, so it is an identity. That's not my answer, okay? That's a description. What is my answer? We just highlighted it.
The double barred R.
What do we call that? All what?
All
All real numbers. So in this case here, I don't have a less than or greater than anymore. I just say x equals all real numbers, or you can write it out if you need to. Okay, it can be anything. Don't say less than r or greater than r. That makes no sense mathematically. So this is the case. It's an identity. Now the identity is not the answer. Remember I said that. You don't just put identity down and move on. That's a description. For B, okay, so we're dealing with these special cases. Distribute the 4. And they're usually not going to be obvious. They're not just going to be staring at you in the face. You got to do a little bit of work first. 4 times y minus 1 is 4y minus 4. That's greater than or equal to 4y plus 2. Okay, once you have that down, we always move the little guy where you're saying they're both the same. So you move one of them. Subtract 4y. Subtract 4y. And now that gives me negative 4. It's greater than or equal to positive 2. Is that true? No. So that is not true. False. This is called a contradiction. Okay, but if you leave that, I can't count that as right. Can't count it right. So what do you got to tell me the solution is? You look up above there, we highlighted it. What are the solutions? No solution. So we got to say no solution. No solution. Okay, so that would be the case. So those are the two special cases. That only happens when the x's or the variables drop out. They add up to 0. Okay. Now don't forget, just because we did those doesn't mean every answer is going to be no solution or real numbers. Most of them are going to be normal. Okay. All right, we did one similar to this. Let's see if we can use that to get a little bit better on this. So flip it over on the back. Okay, we're going to keep hitting word problems. We're going to keep hitting them because that's probably the hardest part for some of you. So we're going to expose them to you as much as we can. A Plus Advertising charges a fee of $24 plus 10 cents per flyer to print and deliver. Print and More charges 25 cents per flyer. For how many flyers? No fee. No fee. For how many flyers does it cost at A Plus less than the cost of Print and More? So the first thing I would do, I would identify my inequality. A Plus is less than Print and More. So I would just do something like that. I would just identify an identity or an inequality, so that I know how to do it. Now I'm going to figure out how much does each of them cost. How do I write that down? Okay, Jenna, do you know how would I write down the cost for A plus?
24 plus 10x.
24 plus. Make sure you put 0.10, and then she said x. Okay. All right. How do I put the charge for Print and More? Zach?
It's just 0.25.
0.25 what?
X.
Just 0.25 or 0.25x?
Just 0.25.
I want to disagree because it's 25 cents per what?
Oh, per flyer.
Per flyer. So if it was 25 cents for whatever, that'd be a pretty good deal. I'd just give them a quarter and be good. Okay, now as you look at that, you got to solve that. Watch, don't clear out a side. So I'm going to subtract 0.10x. Subtract 0.10x. And I get 24 is less than 0.15x. Divide by 0.15. All right, from there, I want you to write a statement. Just think through. You don't need to write it down. Think, what is a statement that will answer this question? Because like I said, we kind of struggled with that on the last one. That answered that question. For how many flyers is the cost of A plus less than the cost of Print and More? What is 24? Maya, did you divide 24 by 0.15? Do that for me.
I got 160.
160?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now I got 160. So A plus will cost less. All right, finish that statement. A plus will cost less. What would be, or how would I finish that statement? Ryan, what do you think?
At 160 will cost less than at plus advertising.
So A plus, all right, say that again.
At 160 flyers will cost less than at Printing more.
Okay. Read that to me.
X is greater than 160.
But you said what? You said at 160. At 160, what exactly happens? It's not greater than, it's actually going to be equal to. So, what about for 300 flyers? Which one would you choose? Which one would cost less?
Printing more.
Okay. Here's how we got it designed. We said A plus will cost less than printing more for anything over 160. So actually, anything over 160, A plus will cost less. So for 300, for 500, for 700, for 161. How am I going to word this? You're slightly off there. Diana, how am I going to word this? A plus will cost less.
More than or equal to 160.
For more than what?
More than or equal to 160.
Not equal to, just will cost less for more than 160 flyers. So you got to put this in the correct word. You just can't say 160 flyers because it's actually going to be equal to. Anything more than 160 will cost less. Anything less, you're going to go print more. So if you got 80 flyers, it'd be printing more. If you had 100, it'd be printing more. Once you get over 160, at 160, they're the same. At 160, they are the same. So we really got to work on how we word that. Okay. This comes back to something we did in the first chapter when we do the average. You're playing a trivia game on your cell phone. You need a mean score. Mean score doesn't mean it's mad or angry. It means what? Average. You need an average score of at least 90 points to advance to the next round. What scores in the fifth game will allow you to advance? They don't list a game 5, so here's what you got to do. You take 95 plus 91 plus 77 plus 89 plus an unknown amount. This is your fifth game. How do you find the average of something when you add it up? You divide by what, Zach?
How many games there are?
How many games are there? How many do we have?
5.
5. We want this score. What does he need to get to advance? At least 90 points. At least means greater than or equal to. We don't want it just at 90. It can get more than that. All right, remember how we get rid of that 5? Multiply both sides by 5. Multiply both sides by 5. That cancels. That doesn't cancel. That multiplies. I'm going to write this down, but I'm going to fix it in a second. Greater than or equal to 90 times 5, which is 450. All right, go ahead and add those all up. Take 95 plus 91 plus 77 plus 89. Add those all up. Reese, did you add them all up? What'd they come up to? 270? 90. I think it's got to be higher than that.
What?
Double check it again. Lucas, what'd you get? 352. Do we agree with that one?
Yeah.
Did you miss one of them, Reese?
Yeah, this is 91.
All right, 352 plus X is greater than or equal to 450.
How many flyers?
Subtract now, subtract 352. That should be 450. X is greater than or equal to, that's 352. What do we get, Zach? What's 450 minus 352?
98.
98. Okay, so to average a 90, Who is the person here? You must.
I'm gonna say so average at least 90.
To average at least 90. You must score a 98 or higher. You can get higher. Is saying that or higher important? Absolutely. You got to have that or higher in there. You just can't say 98. Okay, because of the wording of the problem. Okay. Now, for a lot of those, you got to have a statement. You got to have a statement, not just that value. Okay. All right, we got homework worksheet where you can put your work on here. This goes over all of 2-4, which was Friday and today. See that?
I did that one.
Okay, you get to work. You got about 10 minutes. You want to get done with probably 5 to 10. You guys got one? Everybody got one? Juan, you got one? Okay. If you have so if I got 2, 3, I'm going to multiply by 2 halves. Because think about this, you don't need to do much, but this is that. What's 3 times 2? What's 2 times 3? What's 6 over 6? 1. So this becomes 1 answer. Okay, so then always have, you do it, but that 3 halves x, I get 3 times 12 divided by 2, or you calculate, which is 18. So if I get 5 fourths x plus 8 less than equal to 9, I still got to subtract 8 first. 5 fourths x. Now like that, and that cancels, and then that just becomes 4/5 times 1, which is 4/5. Did you close it down?
Yeah, I got it all.
Did you turn it off? Okay, I'll get to that.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, we need to move to the 2 first. Okay. Alright, let's go back. Add 4, then we divide by a negative. What happens to the sign when you divide by a negative? Okay. X is less than negative 2. So you got an open circle now instead of in that direction, you're in that direction. Okay. Alright, go ahead and erase that one down. Okay, first thing you want to do is you want to subtract. We gotta move this first. We're gonna subtract 2. Okay, put that line underneath there.
Okay, so you get m over 4. Now, what do we multiply by 4? No, wait. The 4's just cancel. That's why we multiply by 4. So you're just left with the m when you do that. So now you got m is less than 4. Okay, yep. Values. Yeah, a couple numbers to the left, a couple numbers to the right. Wait a minute, less than. What numbers are smaller than 4? Is 5 smaller than 4? No. So you have to go that way. Alright, take a look at that one. What are we going to do first? Okay, now, okay. Okay, let me erase that. You need to take this in 2 steps. You divide it to 6, and then you got that sign, which is greater than or equal to. And it goes on it has to go on the it has to go on that side of the 6. It's 36 divided by 6 is 6. Yeah? And you get a W over there. Now, how do we rewrite that with the W first? Because it has a 6 sign. Good. Mr. D-Light. Sure. Rich, and at the end of the period, you need to go down to the 10 as well.
No.
On the building.
That's how it's called.
Not yet.
Well, I'm leaving.
I should be the number 1. Hey, if you get all real numbers and no solution, you don't need to graph it.
Oh, I'm recording.